then welcome to our next session. I don't have myself now. I have myself also recorded. um, I want to check the logistics first and open the space for the logistics for the EHP dojos to pass it on, and if there's something else.
Yeah.
So who's passing on the stick and to whom?
I held space on Sunday morning and I would like to pass it on.
So what is your question, Volker? You want to pass it on. That it's
Okay. Who wants to hold space for the EHP dojo on the weekend, on the upcoming weekend? Hmm.
so there's no one at the moment. I also have the question, as we have 3 EHP dojos, is there another necessity or are there enough, like 2 are already enough? That's my question. And like 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, European time, so that we have a balance of this. How is it going?
I will
Like,
speak what's alive for
great.
me.
Yep.
It is I'm in this weekend will be in transition of traveling and arriving home early next week, so I don't have space to hold that this weekend, and I am speaking that kind of knowing that in a way most people have said yes and I haven't, and I would like to do that the next time the next opportunity I will take that opportunity, but this weekend I do not have space for that.
Yeah, great. And then thank you. And that there is no one, so you can actually grab it and just do the next one. That's a possibility.
Okay.
Cool.
And also the possibility is to take these and not do it on the weekend.
Well, it's the weekend including, yeah, just up until our next call, I don't have space to hold
Okay.
the EHP. So I can, I will take it for Sunday the 11th. I will hold space on Sunday the 11th.
Okay.
In the morning, CST Central Time.
I will hold space on next Monday the 5th at 12:30 again.
Lunchtime, European time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, super. That's done. Anything else? Logistics?
I have a logistics question for Sandra. Actually, first for everyone. My experience of Sandra's audio is very difficult to hear her. Is that anybody else's experience?
Sandra,
Yeah.
would you say something?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, it could be because my computer is a bit loud when video is making, and so and I don't know. Somebody tells me that it's very difficult to understand me, and others are okay. So I don't know.
Okay. The question was for us. That's why I wanted you to speak again, if we can hear you properly. And I think there is kind of an echo, and it would be more smooth if you would have a headset.
Yeah, okay. I will look up that. I need a connection, and then I can do it. Yeah.
Great. Cool. Super. Thank you, Sydney. Anything else? So I'm muting her. So then logistics closed. We are diving into the territory of different ego states and also like the different parts in us and the defense mechanisms. And this is what we are already doing, like since the beginning. It's about your defense mechanisms, your blockages, your assumptions, your strategies, your behaviors, how you are in the space with your client, and dismantle this. So and this is your survival, these are your survival strategies. And what we found out in and possibility management is that there are two types of defense mechanisms, or like as we call it, the gremlin. And there's a type 1 and then there's a type 2 gremlin. And I want to open the space for to bring clarity what these are, and what you already I want to harvest the intelligent, what you already experienced with gremlin, and then go in a research space with you. And then the second part, like the idea is to use it for ego states. Well, the first hour, about an hour, is dedicated to gremlin, and then the next hour is dedicated to ego states. And who does no who heard about the type 1 and the type 2 difference already? Cool. So everyone, and I think every one of you did some kind of a gremlin transformation already, or is starting and doing it, right? It was a prerequisite. Some would some were kind of allowed, and we made an agreement. I think it was with Sarah, that she did not do it before, but she's planning to do it. So it was like a different agreement, but it was also a prerequisite. So you would know what this is, what the difference is. And I want to know, what did you understand what the difference is? How much clarity do you have? And it's not about right or wrong, but what did you discover so far about let's start with the type 1. And also, what is your type? Do you have clarity about your own type? How did you start into life? It's not what you are now, but how you were brought up, like which structure you were creating, and how you were defending yourself when you were growing up. Sydney, it looks like you want to say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I'm like trying to remember it as in this moment. So I was gonna see if somebody else remembered clearly, but I can speak what's here is that I'm remembering that I identified as a type 1, even though I'm not remembering what that was exactly. I'm actually remembering type 2 more, which is like more, they can be more celebrities or people that really want to be seen or external. They can be really like loud with their gremlin and putting themselves really out there to be seen. And that's what I remember about the type 2. And then the type 1, I have some memory of it being more quiet and more inward. That's what I remember right now. And I know there's so much more. That's what I have.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'll share. From what I remember with the type 1, type 2, just to be transparent, I haven't dove super deeply with type 1, type 2, just been exposed to it a little bit. With type 2, how I understand that is to be more of a hidden gremlin, because in childhood it wasn't okay to have the gremlin tendencies, or like very repressed. So I, during my childhood and teenage years, had more of a type 2 gremlin, which I do think has changed, but more of a type 2 gremlin where I had to hide my gremlin to be able to survive. And the way that looked in my life too, as I got older, is I would be really hard on myself, and anytime I noticed gremlin tendencies, I would just really like cut the arms and the fingers and the head off my gremlin, and just like punish it, and like keep it really in a cage where it wasn't allowed to, and really prevent myself from making messes too. So what I'm sharing is that type 2 can be from not in an environment in childhood of not being welcome to make messes, not of like being kind of an intense environment of abuse and things like that, for showing any signs of shadow.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, how
Mhm.
I perceived it is like I was also kind of, it was not okay to be creative, or to have an opinion, or to be loud and disturbing the space. And then these kind of imprints make that you put your gremlin, or like this resource you have, from which you are creating your defense mechanism, you put it in the back. It's like you are hiding this resource behind you, that you don't have it in front of you. And this is type 2. And type 1 is you put your defense mechanism in front of you, and your the orientation is towards the others, and against, or for, or you make yourself kind of bigger or even smaller to survive. Still, it is related to get something, or to be something, or to be accepted, to get love and approval. And of course you do this also with the type 2, but it's more the hidden strategy. What you say is like, I'm making myself invisible, and here you make yourself visible. Like the type 1 is the visible part, and the type 2 is more like invisible. It is not okay. What you said, it was not okay to be like this. Therefore, I'm just putting myself away. Like I'm hiding. I'm making myself invisible. For example, what I did, I put a glass. What is it? A glass around me, which was reflecting, and no one could see me. It's like this, and I could hide. No one, energetically, emotionally, I was not available anymore. And so this is also where I started. Like the type 2 was my starting point, and then what you said, Scott. How did you can you say one or two sentences more about what changed, and what was your journey towards, like, starting with type 2, and then because it's not the aim to become type 1, right? That's not the aim, but what was changing, and what shifted inside of you until now?
That's a great question. Thank you. A lot changed my environment changed, and for me personally, what it was is I kind of left the normal way of life that I had and went down a completely new path of exploring spirituality and intense mental discipline and spiritual discipline practice. And for me, that's what made the shift, was doing everything completely differently.
How? Can you be more specific?
Mm-hmm. Mm. I know it's there. I just, in this moment, I'm having a difficult time accessing the words because I haven't really put a lot of attention on this in a while. And so my fear in this moment is that the clarity won't come forward. But I do know that there's clarity there. I'm just not accessing it in this moment.
So I have a question for you. Did you read the homepage? Did you went through it? Like not
I've read
just
it multiple times, but not this week. I did not read it this week. I read the other one, the Ego States, but not the Gremlin one.
Okay.
It's not as fresh in my mind.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The I know we just talked about it, but the gremlin one is the one that's more hidden,
No,
or the more
the
visible.
type
and the other
1
one
is, yeah. The type 2 is more the hiding.
more visible. Type 1.
Yes. And the type 1 is in front.
So my
Energetically is
question
like,
for you,
yes,
okay.
go ahead.
Well, Scott, you're saying what I think I hear you saying is that you used to be more 1, but now you're more 2, is it different?
The other way.
That your gremlin type used to be more 2, but now it's more 1.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware of right now, I may be completely
Yeah.
wrong about this, but that's my sense. Yeah.
One possibility that's just coming to me is I as your partner, I just want to say that I could see how it could still be 2, and I just wanted to offer that possibility.
Thank you. I'm not sure if we have space now, but I would love to receive what you're sensing or aware of.
Yeah, we will go in a breakout a bit later, and there you can research and find your gold exactly about that. Your own possibility to scan and notice in the other person, but also you will receive, and you can ask specific questions also about that. And as I said, I really want to stress or underline this, that it's in the coaching in general, like the healing path, it's not about that there's an aim. You need to go from type 2 to type 1 and the other way around. It's more about balancing the qualities out by transforming. Like that's Gremlin transformation, that we are using the energy, the skills we developed to do and to reach another goal. It's not about a goal, but to open possibilities which were not possible before, because the purpose was hiding or defending, and to shift from survival into how to create life, how to nourish a new space, which is in the unknown. And that means energetically, I perceived it as going from back to more to the front and become more visible, which would others would perceive it as, this is type 1. But actually, it's not a type 1, but it's in this direction. It's kind of an evolutionary pull, so to speak. So when your client wants to work on this, it's not about telling them you need to shift into type 1 or into type 2, right? But you can give experiments which are nourishing more like the muscle to be more visible, to be in the front, to be more bold, loud, extrovert, and not introvert. And for others who are super bold all the time and speak loud and be in the forefront, it's like, okay, what about being silent for a whole evening? You know, say nothing and just observe. Close your mouth and listen. What would this be? So it's like this. Or what if you are invisible? Make an experiment. Put even a blanket around you, and then check how is it if you're not seen, even you are there, how you're freaking out, and then you can use these emotional triggers to do the next processes. And it's not about becoming the other type. Katrin, do you
What
have
is it
anything?
about?
What you have a delay, Sydney. Can you say it again?
Yeah, you said that's not what it's about. And so I just was asking, what is it about?
It's about transformation, using the nonlinear force of energy of our being and your being, with which you discovered and created nonlinear survival strategies to transform them into conscious experiments in the here and now, so that the capacity of your being becomes more aware, and you're using consciously the non-linearity as an life force. You use it not as a mechanic, repetitive action, because it's out of survival and it's only a mechanism repeating itself, but use the energy as a living organism, so to speak, from a system, a dead system, into something alive and reinventing itself again and again. Yeah. And for me, it's opening the inner spectrum of the person. Because hiding is then it's a natural state. So being visible, it's so on the other side of the spectrum. So opening the capacity to dance along the whole spectrum. This is the focus, so that the person has a choice, and not the pattern is choosing him or her. It's like the only thing is I hide, that's it. But okay, sometimes I want to step back, and sometimes I want to go into the front and want to use the energy consciously, like to widen the spectrum. So you can decide differently.
Question for you, Christine, if you're working with a client and you're noticing their type of the gremlin and kind of scanning what type they may be, or even confirming that with them, when you're saying opening the inner spectrum of the client, is this sounds so linear what I'm about to say, but is like what you're saying, if a client is type 1, that it would be valuable for them in a non-linear way to experience more of the type 2, like the opposite. Because when I think of full spectrum, it's like experiencing all of it rather than staying in one way. Is that what you're saying? Is like that opening the inner spectrum, like the full spectrum, is like knowing
Yes.
how to not just stay in that one. What's the one way your gremlin shows up? But it's like, okay, well, if you're really hidden, expand with being more visible. And again, sounds like really linear, but is that sort of what you're saying?
Yeah, it has two ingredients, I would say. One is the research, how you invented the type 1 or the type 2. It's like this is the research, almost like the chapter 0 and 1 is like how you actually designed your defense mechanisms. Like this is one part to find your X on the map, and then to widen the spectrum in you. It's, of course, you can say you're performing if you're type 1, you're performing, you go in the direction to type 2, but actually it's not about becoming type 2. It's about using the energy in a different, transformed way, in a conscious way. And if you would have a map, you would have like the more outgoing types and the backgoing types, even if they are consciously as an adult and not in survival. You have the capacity to choose that you are silent for a moment and listening, and or you're loud, take space, talk to a huge audience. It's like this spectrum is still there, but it comes from an adult place, from the adult ego state, and not from a survival strategy. Does it make?
Like that.
Okay, I did not get the full sentence. Would you say it again? Sydney, would you repeat the last sentence? I did not get it.
Breaking up.
Mm-hmm. I think now it's working better.
My last sentence was, okay. My last sentence was is just yes, that is making sense. That it's not so much about what I was describing, but more about using this consciously as an adult. So it's like and just not as a survival strategy. And that made sense to me. Thank you.
And that it needs to make sense is also a survival strategy.
I
Would
knew
you-
it as soon as I said that out loud.
So I think you
Yes,
get it.
thank you.
Okay, cool.
I was like,
Great.
why did I say that?
It's like there was something. Yeah.
I understood it like that you get more possibilities, so that you don't hide or don't be loud, so that you have got more possibilities. Do I understand it right, or is it that what you mean?
Yes, this is what I meant. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to bring another aspect to Gremlin type 2, more from my own observations and research. So to me, it's also familiar, just like hiding or not speaking up. And what I discovered in the last month is also really the self-destructive part, like really the suffering and like the cost of it, like, or in transformation they call it the Gremlin ecstasy. So I would I would have created so that I expose myself to situations which are painful or torturous for myself. So like this inwardly directed aspect. And it's so interesting to me because like there's like I also feel fear at sometimes about gremlin type 1s, like to be attacked, and then I notice I put myself into victim state. And I do research currently around in a way how to not play the victim, and how I try to balance or transform is by, for example, being more bold or setting more boundaries. So that's how I like, or some aspects I would take from more gremlin type 1s, like gremlin type 1, so that I speak up and set my boundary and stick with the consequence. Yeah, so that I don't need to be in the victim state of, oh my gosh, they will attack me, and also not be with the suffering and the self-destructive part.
Cool, thank you. Anything else to add? Not, I would like to. Sandra, go ahead.
I would like to share that it's for me, and sometimes I'm the type 1, and sometimes I'm the type 2, because when I'm speaking with other people which I don't know, then I'm more I hide. I'm not so visible. But if I speak with my family, then it's vice versa. Also umgekehrt, yeah.
It
depends on the
context.
situation. Yeah, on the context. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Holger, I saw you some minutes ago with energy to say something. Is it still present?
No, I forgot about it. I mean, it was just to clarify what it is. So for me, this type 1, type 2 is, or the shift into something different is to first observe what is there and to become clear about what is there, and even to be maybe even transformational about being silent, to just observe how I am silent, or that I am silent, and not doing it just out of a survival strategy, but just to observe, oh, now, or to see my own survival strategy. I am silent and I'm hiding and I'm not showing up. And out of these getting to know myself, finding the way to do something different and to choose something different. And yes.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's not easy. I have one example, which is also kind of delicate for me, because yesterday I was in a man journey with this Beyond Repair, and I usually also hide myself. I am also type 2, and there I got angry, and it was an emotion because I feel a lot of emotional anger towards my dad, because he was not there for us. And there was some guy in this space where I got angry on him, or it is already there since a while, that I feel he's so holy and he's not showing up in our 3 cell, and so on and so on. And I got really angry. And I felt how this is emotional, and on the other hand, I also felt a kind of, I want to say this. Yeah, it was I don't know if it's a mixture or if it's only emotion. Yes, and I got a lot of feedback which I even couldn't really get in the moment. So I was watching the recording today again, and there was a lot of fear of doing this, of being seen in these kind of wow, freaky, whatever. It was hard to me to watch the recording and the way it goes. I was sitting there and quite
What was
able.
hard, Volker? What was
What?
so hard? What was so hard? What did you feel? What were your thoughts?
My fear, I felt fear. I felt fear of being seen first. I felt fear of being judged, to be emotional, and I also felt fear of being myself as I judge others when they are. So this is also important. And in the other hand, it was also for me, I felt joy that I could see myself, what I do, and that I could see, that I felt joy about that I could have allowed myself to do also, even to sit to show my emotion, that it was an emotion and I could show these in a space with others and get even some gold, something
So
to research out of it.
okay, I have one question. You said I'm judging others
Yes.
when they are when they are so loud and bold and say what they and show themselves, or when are you judging others?
I think it's more about the emotion.
So you're judging
Maybe
others when they are showing emotions. Or
the
when,
anger emotion, yeah.
so that would be amazing EHP to check. Because if you're not unhooking yourself and really go like to understand it mentally, it's different than if you
Yes,
if it still holds you back.
I am on that, and I know that that I get slowly not hooked anymore. So,
Cool. Super. Thank
but
you.
yes, I know this, and
Cool. Thank you. So I want to open the space for the praxis and to mm, go into the dough and knit a bit more the dough of together. And it would be a space of two. Katrin, I want you to join. Is this good? Good. Okay. So you go in pairs and you have each 5 minutes, and one is the coach and one is the client. And I'm jumping around, so the coach is also there. And you have 5 minutes to scan and notice what are the defense mechanisms, the behaviors, what you also notice now when everyone was speaking already. What were the behaviors, the defense mechanisms, and also the shadow principles, what you were noticing in others. And then you're shifting. So the coach, it's mainly about scanning, noticing, and then offering what you notice. And this we do only in this praxis room. It's not about you. It's not what you would transfer one-to-one in a coaching session. You're not scanning your client and then you would just give them all their shadow worlds. It's like this is what they usually discover by themselves, right? But it's about synchronizing. Like Catherine had a beautiful word, calibrating, calibrating the inner and the outer reality, right? And and that you dare to speak it out loud and share precisely. Don't be nice, be bold. It's about the muscle you train is to have your sort of clarity and your heart at the same time, and be bold with what you see. Because sometimes you would need this in a session, that you see something and then you name it. But it's not, you would not do the same exercise, what we are now doing, and transfer it into a coaching session. But the clarity, you sometimes, especially if you have a gremlin in front of you, it is great that you, or like it's necessary, no, it's not, it's helpful sometimes to say exactly what they are doing. It's not what they are, but what your client is doing, what the gremlin is doing, what is the behavior, what you're noticing, and to bring this very clearly into the space. And this is the praxis for that. Any questions?
I have a yes. So the coach, no, I asked the other way around. The client, is he also speaking now in the breakout room, so that the coach can?
No, for the first part, not. You're shifting, and it's more like a observation of behaviors, what you noticed, what is there, what is present, and then in the second we change, and then we are adding another element, like the speaking part to it.
Thank you.
So,
Great.
The client just hears, just listens.
Yeah.
About what we saw already in this space.
Yes, and the client can make notes. It's like write down whatever gold you get. What your coach is scanning, it's probably very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Could you also speak a little bit about sharing shadow principles? I have like an idea of what that is, but I haven't heard it spoke of a lot.
Yeah.
What you're meaning specifically.
So it's the purpose. The shadow purpose is, for example, control, manipulation, to be jealous. No, it's not the right word.
Night. Night. I don't know.
Night, yeah. Greediness, or for example, I'm using cold disdain, or it might be that it's not only the quality what you're scanning, but specific behaviors or frequencies in the voice, or energetic tools, kind of weapons, what you perceived. It's all it's yeah, it's really delicate. Katrin, do you have your shadow principles?
For example, also this passive aggressivity,
yeah,
or superiority.
Or to be submissive and play low drama. Be in which role you are scanning, like the perpetrator, the rescuer, or the victim. These are all these aspects of your shadow principles, what you're using. And it's about finding more words and training the muscle that you really speak out the distinction. And it might be that you're first describe the behavior, and then while you're describing the behavior, the quality comes up, and you say, actually, it's about controlling. You are controlling the space like this, and be precise. You are manipulating with your tone of your voice, or how you look into the space, or what posture you're using, or how elegantly you are dressing. Whatever you see and saw, name it really precisely. Okay. So the space is open and it stays open for 12 minutes, so there is a little change time.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I would like that you start with the coach.
Me being the coach?
You are the coach and I'm the
Yes.
client. You scan
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for the proposal. So, yeah, what I notice, Sandra, is like you're not really, you're looking a little bit like downward. Your eyes are now they're almost closed, like you look down. There's this energy, I sense this energy of being invisible and hiding and playing small. And I feel that because there's this strategy. I noticed this strategy that I don't really get to see you, to know you. What I'm getting is right now I have the story that you are taking notes, and this is like something like you're the good student, you're the good girl, like you good girl, and something like trying to be perfect. Yeah, like not getting like letting become things getting messy as a way for you to control the space. And as a way of holding back information. Yeah, the less the less you show yourself, the less you share, like for example, also with a more open posture, like you even physically, like you're not sharing so much, like you're withholding also who you are. Then there's this game, I feel if you try to play inferior towards me.
Can you say it in other words? I don't get it.
Yeah, like as if I were like as if you were below me.
That you're submissive. Unterlegen.
Ah, yeah.
Unterwürfig.
And that's actually, yeah, let me just feel. Your gremlin wants to look very smart.
How? Be more precise and be
Yeah, it's about the
Yeah.
face. It's about the facial expression. So I know. Also the nose is a little bit up. And in the other hand, there is also the gremlin also is can play the good girl. I can imagine. I didn't see so much of it yet, but there is. I can sense a part of being nice, being good. I know how to behave.
Yeah, and that's the box, Volker. That's
Oh.
great. It's like this is the box,
Ah,
and yeah, and that's super. It's like it's and it's not the gremlin, it's the box, what you're describing. She has a good girl box.
uh-huh.
So it's a mechanism. What is even behind, or what is driving the box, right? What is the purpose, or what is the purpose that she plays the nice girl? Actually, what is the strategy?
Mhm.
And that leads you to the shadow principle,
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
tracking this back or
Yes. Thank you.
through, yeah. And allow yourself to be to let it speak through you. Like it's almost that stay in connection with her. Oh, I don't know what was there. and then stay. What I do, I'm using my gremlin to connect to her gremlin, and my gremlin tells me what's going on.
Okay.
And you will find your own strategy or your own technique. Right?
Thank you. Yeah, so it's a box strategy to be good girl. I behind this strategy is fear, is a strategy of that you want others to be, that you want also others to be nice to you. And
So
okay.
yeah, please come to an end and then shift to Sydney.
Yes.
And the space will stay a bit longer open than the number is counting.
Thank you, Volker.
Thank you.
Volker, the behaviors and ways that I see you showing up in the space is it seems like there's an imploding of your feelings and emotional energy that I can sense at different times: anger, fear, sadness, and even your joy. And there's not a way that you give space to speak what that is into the space. And I think it's your gremlin the reason why that doesn't happen, that behavior of not speaking it in the space is about fear, like fear of being messy, fear of how you'll be seen, fear of being coached. And so you keep yourself small rather than just making a fucking mess and just imploding and just doing something different. It's a survival strategy of just staying that way because it's a way you know, rather than just, yeah, bringing it all here into this space, whatever's there, and doing it in a way that doesn't even make sense.
So don't go so much, Sydney, in the direction what he could do. Like really dive into the defense mechanism.
Yeah.
It's like why he's avoiding it, how he's avoiding it.
Mhm.
How is he doing this? Like as exactly what you said with the fear that he's questioning himself. You're questioning yourself again and again. You think that you're a bad person or that you would do it. Like talk to him and be very direct, right? Not talk about it, but talk to him, through him, into him. You do this. This is what you do. This is your strategy. This is yeah. Go.
Yes. I'll just continue with what I'm sharing. Like you stay small, you stay proper, you keep things you keep things inside rather than you keep it inside and present it in a way that's more sensible and pretty. There's you speak with this fear and this question of how is this going to land in the space? What is someone going to think about what I just say? Rather than, you observe. There's a way you just stay in like a really an observation state of everything around you, and anger builds up of certain little things that happen, maybe a way someone speaks or not being recognized or called upon, valued, and your curiosity then turns into this anger that's not given a voice outwardly, but the voice is there inwardly. And there's the purpose is there's like this righteousness that the gremlin feeds off of I'm right, or I see, I know, and maybe in a superiority that comes along with the righteousness and the scanning that you do.
You have 60 seconds and then we are meeting.
I think I'm complete. Still frozen. And seeing anything else in this moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. And this will also be in the recording later, yeah?
Yes.
Super, then I can watch it again.
Cool.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Hmm. And I'm not sure. Like I think I'm navigating into a different space. What do you think? Katrin, what is your nodding about?
My nodding my nodding is okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know.
I'm thinking about, or like I'm just checking in. Okay, I know what I want to do. Like, because what I see is that you already have an kind of an understanding of yourself enough, or you did enough research on your gremlin transformation already that you have a picture. It's not that you would need, of course you can go on and the next layer and the next layer, but you have a lot of information and it's already gathered. What I want you to train is that how can you navigate your client into an understanding of their defense mechanisms, right? That they really get the experience what they are doing. And I want to put you again into pairs. And the first thing what you ask your client is a dangerous question. And one question you can use, you can also adjust it. It's how is your relating to your parents currently? And then they start to speak, and then you already see something. You use the first pattern what you see, the first move of defensiveness, and then or you let them speak for a minute something, and then you take something, because there are so many doors. Always in coaching sessions, there are so many doors, and you decide what are you choosing, what are you picking, what you let consciously slip, because okay, that's not for now, but this is where I want to go deeper. I want to open this door, and then you unfold this together, what you observe, and you ask, how is it really going inside of you? And you're discovering the pattern together. And it's about you as a coach diving deeper into the structure for altogether 5 minutes. So it's not a whole session, but to navigate into the pattern. And it's also about you choosing which one are you choosing from all the things what you're observing. Yeah. Gonna open again. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
No. Great. So you have 5 to 6 minutes.
So we
And
ask
then
a dangerous question, and then we let them go. And then we observe the survival strategies and talk about them directly, about what's happening.
you pick one. Yes. And it's you're navigating into the experience and unfolding what it's almost like you have the magnifying glass. Is it the right word? Like you put a magnifying glass onto something, one pattern you see. Yeah. Okay.
I think, do you hear me? I think I
Yes.
have to leave the room because my image is frozen. Isn't it for you?
We can hear you.
We
But
can
do
hear
you
you, but their camera is not on.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
So jump out and come in again. This is
Yeah.
what you suggest? Okay,
yeah.
I agree. See you and just do that and come in. Okay, great.
I have
Volker,
one question about this practice. Are we having a discussion, or is it still client coach where the coach is just sharing the pattern? Or is it more of a discussion?
it's a conversation. I would not call it discussion, but a conversation. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Oh.
So the client can ask what it means or can feel into it, or what does it mean then the conversation.
Yes. You will figure it out.
Yes.
You will figure it out, and it's not about understanding. Okay? Cool.
Yes.
Super. Oh. Mm. Sandra, I'm moving you to Volker. Now, I think you have them. Yes.
No.
No. I noticed when I asked you that, it seemed like you swallowed and we're a little frozen. Can you say more about that? Did you notice that?
Yes.
Wie ich da wie ich in dieser Wut hängen bleibe.
Wie du in dieser emotionalen Wut hängen bleibst.
In dieser emotionalen Wut hängen bleibe, oder ich gerate in ein Freezing, in eine Paralysation und kann gar nicht mehr was sagen, will abhauen, aber kann nicht. So, ja.
Also du hast zwei Verhaltensstrategien. Entweder du kommst in eine Starre rein und du willst abhauen und kannst nicht. Oder du wirst wütend und gehst in Verteidigungsmechanismus.
Ja, letztlich dieses Wütend ist eigentlich in mir, aber ich krieg das nicht raus. Also wenn ich mit meinem Vater bin, ist es ganz schwierig, das zu praktizieren, wirklich wütend zu sein. Und
Du richtest die Wut nach innen dann und möchtest aber sie auch gegenüber deinem Vater zeigen.
Sandra, genau. Wo bist denn du eingehakt? Was
Ich
hat er
hatte-
denn gemacht?
Ich hatte gefragt, was ist deine Beziehung zu deinen Eltern und dann hat er mir gesagt, dass die Mutter gestorben ist und er keinen Kontakt mit seinem Vater hat und dass er Angst hat, mit ihm in
ab
Kontakt
und
zu gehen.
zu E-Mail.
Genau. Aber es ist nicht, wo bist du eingehakt? was ist dann hier im Moment passiert? Es geht nicht um das zu analysieren, was er tut, wenn er mit dem Vater oder wenn er nicht mit dem Vater im Kontakt ist, sondern was passiert jetzt? Also wie hat er sich jetzt quasi gegen diese Frage gewehrt? Oder also das sind genau dieses, oh ja, eigentlich will ich diese Frage gar nicht wirklich beantworten. Gibt es da irgendwas, was, was du gesehen hast?
Okay.
Ja? Vielleicht
Okay.
frag ihn eine andere Frage und du hast noch 2 Minuten und dann schnapp dir was. Im Hier und Jetzt. Also da geht es jetzt wirklich mit Volker da zu sein.
Okay.
Cool.
Hast du noch einen besten Freund, dem du eigentlich mal was sagen wolltest, aber noch nie das getraut hast, was zu sagen?
Oh. Ich wüsste ja nicht, dass ich einen besten Freund habe.
Du weißt nicht, dass du einen besten Freund hast.
Sandra, wenn du das ist, also diese Wiederholungsschleife bringt ihn in den EHP oder das ist sowas wie den Elevator runtergehen.
Okay.
Ich würde es nicht ständig machen.
Okay.
Also einfach, weil es hat einen anderen Zweck. Und ich habe den Eindruck, du machst es, weil es ist wie ein Mechanismus, der da läuft. Die Frage ist, Volker, was ist jetzt gerade passiert? Also hast du gesehen, was bei Volker passiert ist?
Ja, war ich dem aus? War ich
Genau,
dem
und wie
aus?
macht er das? Wie genau hat er das gemacht? Und das
Er dreht sich
benennen.
Teil weg,
Mhm.
so. Er verschließt die Lippen, er zieht sich ein Stück mit dem Körper zurück. Ja.
Genau. Und dann sagst du was wie, du könntest das genau sagen, Volker, hast du gemerkt, dass du gerade energetisch und auch mit deinem Körper nach hinten gegangen bist und deine Lippen
Okay.
aufeinander presst?
Okay.
Was passiert da? Und dann bist du mit ihm da, wo er
Okay.
gerade ist. Und dann kannst du diesen Pattern mit ihm anschauen. Jetzt geht es dann in das Wechseln, aber kriegst du, was
Okay.
ich meine? Ja?
Ja, okay.
Okay, cool.
Ja. Ja.
Super. Dann wechselt.
Ja.
Oder, ja, genau. Ich schreibe es gerade in die Gruppe.
Ich bin immer noch voll da drin. Muss ich erst mal. Einen Augenblick.
And that she's not clear or providing the clarity. And yeah, I'm sensing that there might be a way you do that in other areas of life too. Instead of really taking your power and saying, this is my birthday, this is what I want to do, and then just hold the space for that, and either they come or don't come. But instead of, it seems that there's a way where you're molding yourself to be able to please your mother, or waiting for, like,
Okay.
yeah, like her to shift. Yeah.
Are you in the first constellation still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So please shift. And it looks like, because it's about being with Katrin in the here and now. It's like when you ask a dangerous question and then to observe exactly what she's doing. Maybe she's swallowing, maybe she shrinks, maybe she turns even away. And it's like, oof, even it's a slight move, but I don't want to answer this. And then she comes back. And these moments to catch this, what is happening here when there's, it's an invitation for intimacy. Right? When it gets dangerous for the gremlin, for the defense mechanism, and then it shows itself, and to use it as a you can hook into whatever comes up. So
Thank you.
yeah, Katrin, it's your turn.
Yes.
Um,
Scott, what is your current relationship to your parents?
My current relationship to my parents is, it's definitely evolved a lot, but my current relationship with them right now is that we have, like, we don't fight a lot. We seemingly get along. They're very supportive of me. I love them. I've done a lot of forgiveness work with them, so I'm not holding on to things from the past. Yet there is, as I'm diving deeper into this possibility management work, I've been realizing that I long for just even deeper depth with them, not just like avoiding the conflict or creating situations where we don't have conflict, but it's more of like I desire to like get to know them more, to receive more of their being and to connect being to being rather than box to box.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a longing and desire for that.
Katrin,
And
what
Yeah.
did you notice? What did you notice? What can you
Yes.
catch?
Yes. So thank you, Scott. I noticed that the very first moment I had the impression that your energy was making something like that, like you are rolling your eyes, and then you answered with you repeated the question to make space. That was my observation.
Yes.
And I perceive you as stable and
So Katrin, don't stay with him and say, look, what was happening there? When you need to repeat yourself, my assumption is like even I would not say you make space or you're what did you just say? You make what did you say?
like something like
You're gaining space or like you're
Yes. So what is happening in you when you repeat the question back?
Thank you. What's happening to me? I'm doing it again right now. What's happening
yeah,
is
it's the exact
I'm in my
same
head.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
say
I'm in
thank
my
you. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I repeat the question back, what's happening is I don't feel very connected to like the answer to that. So I repeat it back to connect with the question so that I can receive the answer. And I think that there is a way that I go into my head a bit with it.
Yeah, where do you want to receive the answer from?
That's a great question. I don't know that I know.
You do it again. You do it again.
Yeah.
It's a great
Me.
question. Yes, Scott, this is what you said today already 2 or 3 times. It's a bridge, and there's this praising and repeating, appreciation, but it's a mechanism almost like it's a great question. It's already super. I'm safe, pleasing, or in this direction. So I'm gonna, yeah. I'm
Well, it's a
gonna
great
close. You have
question. Like
16 seconds.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that I say that it's a great question because I don't know the answer and it's getting me to go deeper with myself, is why I say that.
And do you sense some familiar flavor either when you are repeating back or when you are saying it is a great question?
I didn't understand. Would you say that again?
Is there a similar flavor whether you repeat back the question or you say, this is a good question?
Is there a similar flavor? I want to say I don't know.
Maybe energetically or
Thank you for this experiment. And what I notice is that it's not so much about analyzing, but and more about getting the client into a small here and now, even with the defense mechanism, even with the pattern, to really sense it from different perspectives, energetically, emotionally. What is the fear? What is the anger? What is the sadness? But also, how is the energetics around this? And sometimes it's even like a gesture. And then how is the gesture related to the emotional body? How is it attached? Because everything is intertwined, right? Like how is it attached to the energetics? And ask these questions so that it's almost like making a map from one pattern. And when you get the full picture, it's this what you do also in Gremlin transformation. You move into the direction then of getting the benefit, the ecstasy. But first, a client needs to get there, right? What is a pattern? What is a defense strategy? What is this? What am I doing? And the domino effect, what they are actually doing in the little moment. So what did you discover? What is your taking?
I noticed again just the power and the magic of dangerous questions. Like receiving a question I'm not prepared to, and just allowing the liquid state about it. And then what worked really well, receiving but also using it as a tool, was the magnifying glass. So it helped me when Sydney told me, and if I put a magnifying glass on you, then I notice this and this behavior. And I also used the tool when I was the coach for Sydney, and it helped me to really describe in detail what I notice in her.
So what I hear you saying is that you literally use the word, like when I'm putting a magnifying glass on you, then this and that.
Yes.
I noticed this and that.
Yes.
Yeah, and these are great phrases for bridging into a new space, right? And these are to have 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences which you use personally. And at the beginning, maybe you're copying them from others. Go ahead, do it. Everything is copy left here in possibility management. And this is, we are learning from each other. And check from time to time, is it really your language? Is it your word? So I never use this when I'm putting a magnifying glass on it. I just use the metaphor, but I would have not chosen it as a sentence. So this is exactly how it goes, right? And also that's why I want that you bring your gold into the center. So that we get inspired. Thank you for this, Alice.
I
Yes.
will say, as the client, yeah, as the client, there was a magnifying glass moment on me of Alice just saying like what the behavior was that I did, which was like even using the words I think, and then like looking up, like it was obvious I was thinking in my head. And without her having to say much more than that, I was already just becoming aware of the behavior and like seeing the behavior, seeing what it was, seeing what it wasn't, just seeing myself through just her just saying, hey, this behavior just happened, and putting that on the table. Yeah, it helped me see that, yeah, when I wasn't seeing it before. And maybe I'll say what it is more specifically. Like she said it was, the thinking, and I realized that I do this thing where when I'm feeling, I just involve my thinking and my feeling rather than just feeling, and then it's coming more from my being or from my heart. And I just having that behavior pointed out of the thinking, it's like it's like I have a magnifying glass in myself, more access to that, to be able to see what's there.
And could you then put it aside or like while you're noticing it, that something else was possible? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is
Yes.
exactly the gold, right? Also for you as a coach, like by doing this, and what I heard, how you spoke, this is my assumption, that it was really only saying, I have a magnifying glass. This is what happens. And there's no judgment at all. There was not a pressure. It was only like, look, this is what I see when I come with my magic glasses. And the invitation is, what do you think about it? It's not how is it for you, right? And then that this understanding opens a door into your emotional body, into more to be aware of the energetics. And when it works with you, you can also make this happen with your clients. Anything else?
Yeah, I found this also this interesting about this dangerous question. And for me, it was not only a dangerous question that I didn't know, but I was expecting a dangerous question. It came, and still it was hitting me. Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, just to see, just to feel, just to recognize how I implode, as Sydney said. And
okay.
yes, no.
I continue. Go ahead.
This was I would go to another thing. I wanted to speak out of the opposite from what I observed in my client, how this was for me. Okay, but and this for me, I maybe also because I was always observing, or I am always observing and scanning everything for some certain danger which could come towards myself. I think, or I sense a good sense of finding points in at least the people who are similar to me. Or there, I am very good in sensing what's going on.
So what I hear you saying is that you have let, or like it makes it easier when people have a similar box technique or like different similar patterns to notice them. Is it what you say?
Just if there is yeah, maybe it's a bit different. Maybe if there is a similar pain as I have, then I can easier connect to it, and I don't need to have my own defense mechanisms so much. So, or they
Yeah.
are not. Yes, you know, you understand.
So what I noticed, Volker, is that, and I had this too, that I wanted to connect kind of, there's this, how can I say, that you want to connect to your own wound, or when you connect to your own wound and your pain, it's easier to kind of understand the other person in the complexity and whatever is happening. And I'm doubting that it's on the long term, it's kind of on the path of evolution. You will, this will not be a reference point anymore. Kind of at the
I hope
moment, you're using your own yourself as a reference point, and my guess is on your path of evolution, you will reach the point where you go beyond that. At the moment you do this, but that you know it's not the end finishing line, that you're the reference point,
that I am the reference point.
that you wound, because if you say I'm relating to the wounding, then you make yourself as a reference point. And yes, I also had the experience that people with the same or a similar construct, a similar wounding, a similar, so to speak, frequency, what they are holding, they are coming into my praxis rooms when it's about abandonment, loneliness, trauma, shame, guilt, in a specific from a specific wounding, right? Like upbringing. And the kind of the matrix is resonating. When you go first and you developed your capabilities of healing and transforming and holding space for your own capacity, people will resonate with this and say, look, this guy, I need to go there. I have no idea why. My understanding, my head, my mind will not understand, but something is pulling me there. Probably they have a good reason, but like more it's the being is resonating with your matrix. And on a certain point, it's not about you anymore. What I noticed is that in the first phase of adulthood, it's when you're there still on this part of your own transformation and healing, you as a being, you take yourself as the center, and then on the after you pass this threshold where you know I'm enough, I have enough food, I have enough air, I have enough value, I am enough, right? Then you're moving into the second territory, the second phase of adulthood, which more means that you're in service for whatever comes, and then it's not, your wounding is not the reference point anymore. I think this is it's a research field I'm in, so probably I have not exactly the words at the moment for that. But this is what I noticed, that the first phase and the second phase are different with the when it comes to how we are approaching clients.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah. Because
I think it maybe has to do also with the own journey, with the own healing journey. Because if what I meant was also, if I have a similar wound, then my defense mechanisms don't need to go up. And if there's something, if I sense something where I feel I'm not safe, then it's for me, it's also, if my defense mechanism raises up, also my sensing is less accurate, or also my ability to be open for everything is less.
Yeah, and you're actually this is a perfect bridge into the next territory about the ego states we want to dive into briefly, because it's a huge thing. There are trainings for this, but at the same time, I want to bring it into the space that you are, how can I say, that you're training yourself to distinguish the different ego states in your clients. Even there's a specific decontamination coaching where which Vera and Anna are holding space for, or they're training coaches at the moment. And for example, I'm a coach for the child decontamination, but also it's always very closely related to the parent contamination. And then there's gremlin contamination and gremlin decontamination, which I'm not trained in this yet. Like maybe this is another specialty I'm going into, but the possibility coaching space, it's not that it's superficial, but we are not tapping deeply into it. It's like when the person would be ready for doing the decontamination, you would pass it on to a specific space holder. Yeah. But
And
at the same time, you need to know what are the ego states. And I want to show you a
can you
map.
just briefly say what's the difference between transformation and decontamination?
Can you repeat the question?
I
What
heard
is the
about
difference between?
transformation and decontamination of gremlin.
Yes. So the transformation of gremlin is that the gremlin is a part of your being. Like it's the non-linear and a part of your being which you used mainly, or like which we are using as children mainly for creating defense mechanisms when we are little, to survive. And this process of dismantling all the structures and the benefits, the ecstasy, the survival strategies we are still maintaining, this dismantling, observing, and also it's just analyzing, but not mentally, but full body experience of your survival strategy is a transformation, so that you can use the energy in a different way, consciously, for non-linearity, for your creativity, for power of creation, for navigating space, for holding space. This is transforming. For me, it's like you have your gremlin. People have it here or in the back, right? Like what we said, type 1, type 2. And transforming, is it to because when the gremlin energy is in the back, it's still steering. Even it's there, it's somehow ruling the show, but hidden. And when the gremlin is in front, it's steering the wheel. In the front, in the how do you say, often in the open. In this, it's more visible, or it's visible, and there it's hidden, but still it's there. And the transformation, how I often use it, is when this energy gets sorted into where it belongs, like this energy, which is coming from there and from the back, and the gremlin is using the energy to manipulate the space, and here in the front, it's steering the wheel, goes on the side, that you put your gremlin consciously on the side, have a relationship, that you transform it into this T. It's a half T, right? You're using the energy consciously, and you have a relationship with your gremlin. That's transformation. The contamination is a different thing. When you're a child, you grow up, and you adapted different kind of patterns and habits, which are indicators of if you are in a state. It's like when you are the best distinction I find for a state is like there's the liquid state is a state. It's not a constant thing. It's not permanent. Like ice or water, it's a state. And the states, I want to show you the map. I think it's easier to bring this up. Let me check. I want to show you this. Can you see that?
Yes.
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 Great. Super.
Mhm.
And like there are 6 ego states. And what is happening is that in the center, best is your adult, right? Like there is a circle. And what happens is that we are adapting different kind of habits or voices, or we are adapting rules from parents. And I want to go through them, and then you can more understand. So there are 6 ego states we discovered so far, and maybe there are even more. The parent ego state, they are inauthentic emotions and rules which are which we are orientating ourselves towards. For example, one rule is it needs to be clean. You have to sit straight at the table. We are using cutleries for eating. All these different kind of rules we are adapting. Then there's the critical and the praising is like giving praise and say, oh, that was so great. Oh no, that was so bad. The polarities in speaking. This is one hint of parent ego state. Also, inauthentic emotions is like they are not your emotions, but you adapted them from your parents. For example, oh, driving to the holidays is always so great. And then when your mother, for example, would say this again and again, and it's like, hey, it's so cool, it's fine. You, maybe as a child, you just adapt this and say, oh yeah, holiday is always fun, sure. And that would be an inauthentic emotion. Then the child ego state is incomplete emotions, like all these triggers, emotions, kind of classical emotions when they are popping up, related to unmet needs, hurts, also rebel, like the rebels, the frustrated teenagers. There's I'm against this. I don't want that. Or now and instantly. Now I want this. Everything. And or I'm questioning myself. I cannot do this. I'm too shy. Or this when you have unfinished business all around your desk, you start things, but you're not completing them. You're like a child running from one thing to the next, but you're not closing things. These are hints for child ego state. Then the gremlin ego state is best that I so far can kind of understand it is and get it is that it's an orientation towards life. That the gremlin ego state, when I'm in gremlin ego state, I have rather this you don't get me out there, and or I will get you before you get me. And it's an approach into life. It's an orientation you have. And of course, your underworld, the underworld principles are steering it, but it's not the active gremlin which is defending your box. It's an attitude. I don't know, Katrin, do you have another word? But like for me, it's an attitude and orientation into the world. And if you have found another word, great. But it's not. It's almost like a filter you put yourself over, and then you look through this orientation into the world. And then there's the ego, the demon ego state, which is mainly about trigger sentences. And there's the Spark 135, which is a super tool to close the cafe, so that these vampires, which are feeding on you because you opened the door, it's not about them and they are hunting you, but because you opened the cafe. So it's your responsibility to also close the cafe. If you don't want to be in this state where the demon state is very much, I want to stay under the blanket, and after 2 or 3 days, something shifts and you're out of it. And what we discovered is that it's when the vampires are full, when they are satisfied, they let go and you get your energy back. This is what we discovered so far. Who did this, the process already? Cool.
What
So
process?
The Spark 135, closing the cafe. So if you ever experience these days where you have not an understanding why you're so low of energy, then this is this might be a doorway. Then the first layer is to find the trigger sentence. And for me, for example, the trigger sentence was like, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm alone, I'm always alone. This was a super sentence for me. And you're noticing them and you're writing it into your beep book at the back. There's one page for trigger sentences, and then you're noting them. And you need to have at least 5 trigger sentences before you can do the closing the cafe. I would say best to have 10. You will find out more when you read the Spark 135. And then there is the adult ego state, from which you are operating with your feelings in the small here and now, it's your voice, you are authentically here and now. It's nothing else. And from this adult ego state, you have access to the archetypal ego state, where yeah, transformation, love, where the principles do its work. And I'm still exploring. I have not yet so much words for this archetypal ego state. I would when I did the map, I realized, yeah, I'm missing the words. I'm missing words because it's more an experiential reality, which then is more present. And where I very much sense the archetypal, and as a really easy example is this walking in the speed of love. Did you ever do this experiment, walking in the speed of love? That's an amazing thing. You have a walk and you're not walking your normal pace, but you get centered, grounded, bubbled with your own space and declare a kind of a working space, a walking space together with whomever you want to walk. You can also do this alone. And then you start walking so slow in the and let the principle of love move you and navigate you and share what you find out because it's an experiential reality and probably you experience something else than I did. But that was a simple simple example for the archetypal domain. And of course, all these transformative healing processes, what we do, like the intimacy, what we are sharing with partner when we are opening extraordinary spaces, this is then the access to the archetypal. Katrin, is Katrin?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm only seeing 5. It's like, oh, you're gone. Okay. Do you want to add something?
I have a question. This small U is new for me.
I would say it's a small I.
Yeah, that doesn't help me.
Small box.
It's not about the box. It was not the I have no answer at the moment with a small U. My interpretation, it's more a small I is like in the here and now. There are different I's speaking out of the I who has needs, unmet needs. It's the child ego state. So, but here and now, the small I, what is now? What do I want now? This I. This is what I get from this more you.
I'm the channel, and I'm not. It's not me who's speaking. That I'm only the mirror for the other person, I would say.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah, I don't get it fully. You're translating it into the client situation?
If I'm the coach, then I'm only the channel, and I'm not. It's not me who's speaking, or it's I'm only the mirror. I'm very small, and I can mirror the client. It's not important who I am. It's I'm only the mirror for the client.
But I think this is something different, because this adult ego state is about myself and not about me mirroring someone else.
Yeah. This I'm not sure if it Vera or Anna was writing this map. And I agree to what Volker said. I think in this particular small U, it has to do with who is like, yeah, I would say small I, like which I is actually here and now, navigating the moment into the unknown. And Sandra, you're translating this into like into a client conversation already. But in the map was not approaching the client constellation, but the very personal, who are
Okay.
you? Yeah.
Okay.
What it makes
And
me,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm just thinking about the magnifying glass earlier and what we were doing. And it's like sometimes to look at something small, like you use the magnifying glass and then it like brings that more alive. And so when I think about myself, like being in an adult ego state, I might use that type of magnifying glass on myself, like just by speaking, the small here, small now, small you. I just kind of see it all as like small here now, you is like the same thing. It's just like bringing awareness to like what's happening right now. And so it's like bringing the magnifying glass to the thing that's just there and making it more alive. And you can also do that, I guess, as a coach, where what we were practicing, where it's like all this stuff is being said, but it's like, what's that thing that in that behavior that just occurred. So it's like bringing attention to something small. We see it as small.
Yeah, and see it as a opportunity, because it's only a symptom which reflects actually a state, or the gremlin, the box. They are hints, they are doorways to a bigger space. And so that and the idea, as more the client gets clarity about the inner landscape, as more choice there is. And the magnifying glass is so, it makes something visible which is so not visible. And a lot of people would just put it into, this is their box, but actually not everything what people think are boxes, but they are ego states. Yeah? And I want that you research again, similar what you did before with the gremlin type 1, type 2, with a pattern, and make the picture even a bit bigger. And it's not so much about doing it right, because you're starting to investigate, and but to research what are the patterns you are seeing, and then we are collecting them together and put them into the different ego states. So I'm checking time. We have half an hour.
I just asked of the other, the map. Can you hear me?
I did not get it fully. Would you say it again, please, Volker?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't ask a question. I was asking about gremlin contamination, decontamination, and you were bringing then these 6 ego states. Does it mean that gremlin contamination is the gremlin ego state to decontaminate it, or does it mean something else?
That's something else. Like the gremlin you're asking what is still the transformation and the decontamination.
Yes.
Yeah. So the gremlin transformation is about using the energy for a different purpose instead of survival for living.
Yes.
And the decontamination, it's not the contamination, decontamination is about shifting the orientation into shifting the orientation from which you're looking through into life. It's a longer process. But decontamination, it's more sorting out and bringing clarity and seeing, this is what I'm doing. I'm stop doing it. I'm putting it into my inner landscape. I bring clarity into, and I'm choosing adult. And Gremlin transformation is about the adult is using the life force, the nonlinear life force, for creating new results. Like the gremlin is, sometimes I'm using the word, the gremlin is the executive, and it's a kind of our police or warrior or whatever, in a not the archetype of warrior, or like the shadow part of the warrior, and the fighter, better say the fighter, the attacker, and the contamination is it's about clearing the field. I'm missing words. I'm not a decontamination coach, so I'm missing their words. Katrin, do you have some more clarity about that?
I just had a picture.
Cool.
That so when the gremlin is the executive, maybe the contamination is really the lenses. I give this executive a hint how to work. When I am contaminated with my child ego state, I give my gremlin other tasks to do than if I'm acting out from the adult. And this is also when I'm looking through the glasses of my gremlin, then it is a lot about unconsciousness.
Is it about unconsciousness about my gremlin, or that's because I also heard that if I beat my gremlin up, then I need a decontamination. Or if I beat myself up for doing something.
Decontamination of what?
Gremlin decontamination. But maybe this is another topic and it goes
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah, it's really delicate. Like especially the gremlin contamination is also there. It's cutting edge. It's like there, how to approach this, because it's not so much about gremlin transformation, and gremlin decontamination needs that you already have a good relationship with your gremlin. So without gremlin transformation, you cannot do the contamination.
Decontamination.
Decontamination, yeah. Because if you want to put the filter aside and you don't have already established the relationship with your gremlin, the gremlin will attack this move because he or she wants to keep the orientation into life, wants to keep the survival strategy. It's always the same thing. There are different layers and different angles we are tackling. It's not the same thing, but it's the same orientation of survival we are tackling. and there are different layers. And first you need to have, because you need to have the relationship, because you're using this nonlinear force to actually decontaminate yourself.
Mm.
But without having already transformed the relationship between you and your gremlin, he or she will kill the approach, whatever you do.
And in the case of the childhood decontamination?
But it's not childhood, it's child decontamination, or the child ego state. It's a lot about EHPs. There's a lot of healing necessary. And then
I have a
and then
I thought you
after a certain phase, there comes this phase where it's about mimic, it's about patterns. For example, like very posture gesture. You see maybe people do like this and squeeze their shoulders, or sit on their hands, or put their hands between the legs. This is also very childish, or something like this. And people might do this. And these are then patterns, really habits, which you explore as a decontamination coach, and then it's about sorting this out and using your conscious anger and sort them out. And you're working one pattern at a time. And you work as long as it takes, 2 or 3 weeks max. Some is faster, like after a week, the pattern is no longer active. But of course, you need to unhook the emotional charge before you can sort out, because this the habit, the gesture, the mimic is only then almost like a repetition of a habit. It's not charged then anymore. So first you need to uncharge the emotional healing process, and then you can sort out. And then there are different layers. It depends because there's always a bit of gremlin contamination, parent ego, parent contamination. So there's always it's a mix, and you work step by step with the different territories. And the child ego state, there are, like I'm checking. Do we go into breakout rooms? I'm checking. Katrin, does it make sense, or is it better to collect the child ego, the gremlin, the parent, the different possibilities, and collect them here? That was my next thought just now.
Well, with the map, we already collected somehow. And
Yes.
I think we wanted to go into breakout rooms with a coach.
Yes. I think that's better. Coach. With 3, right? Yes. Okay. So the idea is we have 20 minutes. The idea is to go into triads, like 3 cells, and one is the client, one is the coach, one is the coach, and I'm also jumping around. And you're asking also a dangerous question. Again, choose another one. And after max 1 minute, you map out what you noticed, and you map everything what you noticed, not only one, but map. And the coach is supporting you to find clarity in which territories this belongs. and you're sorting out. And it's more about noticing, and it's not so much about having a conversation. Yeah.
When you said the coach is helping the coach with which territory, are you speaking about the ego state?
Yes, the ego state territories. We are focusing on that at the moment. Yeah. So there's child, gremlin, parent, demon. We will put aside at the moment. I don't think that we are working with this. And of course, adult, it's also not necessary, but child, gremlin, parent, like this, these three. Great. Super. And 5 minutes each. Yeah. Great.
Menschen treffe, freue ich mich darüber und in Kontakt zu sein. Eigentlich bin ich auf der Suche nach neuen Freunden.
What's happening for you right now?
Weil ich fühle mich im Moment eigentlich alleine. Und würde gerne mehr unter Menschen sein.
What's blocking you from doing this? Yes.
Eigentlich weiß ich nicht, wie ich es machen soll, wie ich die Zeit aufwenden soll, wie ich an Menschen drankomme, die mit mir teilen, was sie wirklich bewegt, ja. Außer im PM-Kontext, so.
Okay, Alice, great. So I think that you have food enough. You can already start. Thank you, Sandra, for being vulnerable. And then you can already, you have 2 minutes to paint, to sort out. What did you see? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sandra, for being vulnerable.
In that moment.
Volker, are you noticing the different ego states that are present?
Yes, and yes, I mean, I noticed that your talk very little. And I propose this is, not propose, I assume, or I think, or I imagine this is a gremlin behavior, that there is a, or maybe it's also a child ego state behavior, that you're waiting, that you're not wanting to go further, that you, yeah, maybe I'm not so good in all these ego states. I'm a little bit, I just say what I
Yes, go. It's not
see.
about being good or already
Yeah.
perfect. It's not about that.
I heard unclarity that you couldn't just say, and you were a bit, I don't know how it's called, stoppering, that there was some stucking in your speech, in your talking, and a lot of breaks, that you were waiting and just first thinking, and it was, your view went up first in some way of thoughts. And I heard a little bit of unconscious sadness when in one situation. It was a little moment where, yeah, sadly I didn't write down what you said in that moment. So a kind of, there is I am vulnerable and I don't want to go there, and you have to take care of me. This kind of sadness.
Christine, do you want Volker to say, like, this is the ego state that I saw in when you said this? Are you wanting Volker to say that to Scott as part of the practice?
Yes. It's like Volker you would say, or like now you're shifting to the second person, but you would say, okay, I saw you biting your lips, or I saw you, your body got stiff. And my assumption, this is child ego state, this is gremlin ego state, or this is part of your gremlin contamination. And of course, you would not say this to your client in this way. But as we are practicing now, we are learning from each other to be bold, to say, to learn, to name it, and be bold. Even it's not about being right or wrong. Of course, it's like you're scanning, your assumption is, but still you say it. Okay, the next person. Who's going next?
Okay, I'm blind now.
Okay, so that makes me the coach.
I'm coach.
Great. Go ahead, Sydney.
Volker, have you ever been in love?
Yes. And I think I haven't been in love a lot, and I just recently find out what does it mean to feel love, or to feel being loved. Especially to feel being loved is not easy. Yeah, it's just a very recent experience I get. And to be in love or to feel love for someone else, I can say I felt this for my former wife, but it was more this kind of falling in love. and after that it maybe was not there anymore. But I feel love for my son, and this is the only time I feel love, and I
Great.
also get sad when I say that.
Yeah. Sydney, so
Yeah.
grab what you got and map it out.
Yeah.
I'm flying further. I'm coming back.
So map it out, like saying what I see.
Yes.
So I am scanning
And at the beginning, I saw also that at the very first beginning, it was you closed your eyes, or you also had like a sight, and after a while, when you spoke about man, your mouth was like in a expressed like disgust, and there I saw also the gremlin just defend, and yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Katrin.
I think it's time to shift.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So then I am the client.
I'm the coach.
Yeah.
Ja. Wie ist das Verhältnis zu deiner besten Freundin?
Ich hab keine beste Freundin in diesem Sinne. Also so wie ich mir beste Freundin vorstelle, also ich hatte mal eine, aber da ist wie der Kontakt sehr, also abgebrochen, ist ziemlich abgebrochen. Und wir hatten diese Woche mal wieder Kontakt, weil ich sie zu einem Geburtstagsevent eingeladen habe und sie kann aber nicht kommen, und dann versuche ich da ein Treffen mit ihr irgendwie reinzuquetschen. Ja, also ich würde sagen, es ist gerade frustrierend, oder?
Super, Sandra, das ist genügend Futter. It's enough food. So, what did you notice? What patterns, what behaviors? And then map it out into the child, gremlin, parent.
Du musstest wie zur Seite gucken und überhaupt nachgucken, ja, was diese Frage soll oder ja, wo sie jetzt herkommt. Und hast auf deine Lippen ja wie geguckt, dass sie so halb geschlossen sind, ja, so ein bisschen.
Wo würdest du das einkategorieren? And Alice, stay with her so that she can find the territories, and I'll jump further.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
control. Control is a big one. Being heard, being listened to.
So who's the coach at the moment?
I am.
Okay. Scott, it's your part.
So now I tell her
Yeah,
which ego state she's in.
yeah.
Okay.
You're waiting. You're waiting. This is child ego state. Waiting is a great indicator. Waiting until something is happening. We're waiting. That's super. This is child ego state. And take your time. Or not take your time. Use your time. This is what I want to say. You have another minute only, but you let it pass. You have 5 minutes, and then 4 minutes. You let Sydney talk, and then.
She only spoke for 1 minute for clarity.
Oh,
but,
okay.
Yeah.
Then you did not shift, like in the.
I think
okay.
you came
Okay.
on like right as it's my time to speak.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I noticed you looking up a lot, Sydney, when responding to the question, and also doing something with your lips, like this kind of thing a little bit. And my sense is that you're in a type of, I'm a little unsure if it's child or gremlin, but if I have to choose one, I would go with more of a gremlin ego state.
Because
Yeah. Because
I'm actually questioning if that's true. Like maybe you're in an adult ego state actually.
do you have any thoughts, Volker? Is the coach?
I thought it's more child ego state. Because you made yourself small, and I also saw your eyebrows going together. So like this, a little bit doubting myself, wanting to be.
So. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have the impression this is really opening a huge doorway for getting to know yourself also and have a different perspective and clarity and distinctions for your client. And I would say practice this in your 3-cell. Like come together and really give hints. What is it? And it's not so much that you already do something about it. It's about observation. It's almost like the Gremlin Transformation Chapter 0. It's this observe the different territories, and it's the aim is that you gain clarity, that you see the different territories more clearly as a coach. Even you don't need to do anything with them, right? But that you get the flavor. Okay, this sentence it's related to a rule. I don't know yet the rule, but somehow it smells like you must, you should, you have to. It's all related to rules. Okay, this is parent. Okay, this is a parent ego state. This is what Volker, what you just said is like the squeezing and making yourself small. You already see it also in faces, and like okay, this is the child, and and supporting each other in why you see when you, for example, say, Volker, okay, I think this is the child, and then Sydney said, why? Or the other way around. It's like, why? I really want to know. Like, learn how to not only name it, but also why you would categorize it or put it there in this territory, and support each other to, gain more clarity in this, and that this is the practice for the 3-cell. when you come together. Thank you for this very nonlinear, a bit crazy, bumpy meeting and session. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Chris.
you.
And
That's very
next
nice.
And next
you.
time we have a supervision. So collect all of supervision, like Q&A, feedback coaching. Bring your questions. So
Is
you're
it again only 1.5?
Yes, yes.
Can we start already at 6?
I would have a yes, but would you ask this is in the group and make thumb up,
Okay.
thumb down, and then if we would do
Yes,
this,
I will.
like would you? Okay, great. Because also Sarah is not here.
Yes, right.
Super.
Thanks.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.